3 Uber Scary Stories. Story 1. The Never-Ending Uber Ride. One evening, I ordered an Uber to take me to a friend's house. The driver, a quiet man with a grizzled beard, arrived promptly, and I hopped into the backseat, expecting a routine trip. Little did I know that this ride would become a descent into madness. As we drove, I noticed that the surroundings seemed strangely familiar, as if we were passing the same landmarks over and over again. I checked my phone's GPS, which indicated that we were on the correct route, but something was undeniably wrong. Minutes turned into hours, and the city streets blurred into a disorienting haze. I asked the driver what was going on, but he remained silent, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. I felt a growing sense of dread as I realized that we were trapped in an endless loop, a never-ending Uber ride that defied all logic. Panic set in, and I pleaded with the driver to let me out, but he continued to drive in eerie silence. Hours turned into days, and I lost all track of time. My pleas for help went unanswered, and I could feel my sanity slipping away. The world outside the car became a nightmarish landscape, an eternal twilight zone. Finally, in a moment of desperation, I managed to unlock the car door and fling myself out onto the deserted street. I tumbled onto the pavement, my body bruised and battered, but I was free from the never-ending Uber ride. I watched as the car drove away, disappearing into the distance. It was a surreal and terrifying experience that left me questioning the boundaries of reality and the true nature of the driver who had taken me on that nightmarish journey. Story 2. The Midnight Ride. It was a moonless night when I hired an Uber for a ride home. The car pulled up, and I climbed into the back seat, greeted by the soft glow of the driver's phone and a polite smile in the rearview mirror. Little did I know this ride would haunt me forever. We started down the quiet, dimly lit streets, the silence broken only by the hum of the engine. As we approached an isolated stretch of road, the driver's demeanor shifted. His smile faded, and his eyes grew dark, filled with an unsettling intensity. He turned onto a desolate, overgrown path, far from the main road. Panic welled up inside me, but before I could react, the driver spoke in a voice that sent shivers down my spine. "You're not going home tonight." I fumbled for my phone, desperate to call for help, but it slipped through my trembling fingers. The driver's laughter filled the car, chilling me to the bone. Suddenly, the car came to a screeching halt. I looked out the window and saw a dimly lit figure standing in the road ahead. It was a woman in a tattered dress, her hair hanging in front of her face like a curtain of darkness. The driver's voice trembled as he muttered, "She's here for you." Terrified, I flung open the door and ran into the darkness, the woman's haunting laughter echoing in my ears. I stumbled through the woods, branches clawing at my skin, and finally found my way back to civilization. To this day, I can't shake the feeling that I narrowly escaped something far more sinister than a simple Uber ride. The memory of that night and the haunted driver who took me on that midnight fare still sends chills down my spine. Story 3. The Midnight Passenger. It was a stormy night when I accepted the last Uber ride of my shift. The destination was a remote, desolate stretch of road surrounded by thick woods, an eerie place even in broad daylight. As I approached, I noticed a figure standing alone in the darkness. I pulled over, and the passenger, a young woman with a pale face and disheveled hair, climbed into the backseat without a word. She seemed distraught, her eyes darting around nervously. I tried to engage in small talk, but she remained silent. The atmosphere inside the car grew tense, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I glanced at the rearview mirror, and my heart stopped. The woman's reflection was distorted, her features contorted into a grotesque mask of rage. I could feel her icy breath on my neck as she whispered, "Drive." Terrified, I accelerated, the rain pounding on the roof like a sinister drumbeat. She directed me deeper into the woods, far from any semblance of civilization. Panic gnawed at me as I realized I was trapped in a nightmare. Suddenly, she let out a blood-curdling scream that chilled me to the bone. I swerved the car to a stop, and she disappeared, leaving nothing but the echo of her haunting wail. I sped back to the main road, my heart pounding. I would never forget the fear in her eyes or the inexplicable terror that had enveloped that ride. It was a nightmarish journey into the unknown, a tale I could never explain, and one that would haunt my dreams forever. Subscribe for more such scary stories. Thank you for watching.